And one of the ways that you can approach drums is you can play different places in the beat, and it's really effective. You can play like, if say this is the beat. This is like if this is the middle of the beat, the middle of every pulse that you feel, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be like right in the middle. Sometimes what I do, depending on how you're looking at the stick, sometimes what I do is I'll pull back behind. Actually, your way would be behind the beat. I'll set just right about here. Or sometimes if I want to push it, if the music's more exciting, sometimes I do it unintentionally too, is I'll go a little in front of the beat, on top of the beat. So just by playing around where you are in the beat can totally drastically affect the sound of the song. And one of the things that's really cool, and you might have felt it when we did the samba, was that Steve and I were both laying back, we were pulling back on that 2 and 4. It stretches the time. It makes it, it's like this big sound, you just gets up inside of you. And that's the idea of the music. Again, we're playing the characteristic of the music. We're not trying to play, we're not trying to superimpose something that's not natural or native to the music. We're actually playing what makes the music sound best. So just playing around with the beat and where you are in the beat is just extremely effective. Why don't we demonstrate the slow blues again? And let's like pull way back.
Pull it way back.
You get the idea how you really can play effectively. A lot of times too, like if you hear 2 and 4 music, a lot of backbeat stuff, like funky stuff, a lot of times, for instance, as a drummer, I'll pull back on the snare drum and I'll pull it back so that it kind of creates this deeper pocket for the music. So there's a lot of different ways that you use just playing around with where you play in the time. And what's interesting is I had a teacher when I was at Berkeley named Joe Hunt, and he used to always say, you play your personality. And it's really true. If you notice people who are always in a hurry, I'll demonstrate, people who are always in a hurry play like this. Just play the same group. Ready? Okay. Go. Soon everybody's speeding up, and then you start at one tempo and you end the song at a completely different tempo. And then you have those people that are really behind the beat, and they play just like what we were playing before, and they may even slow down. They may be so relaxed that everything slows down. So you really play your personality, and it's your job as a drummer or bass player to be aware where you naturally play, so that you can fix that if you need to, or you can alter that if you need to. We're not perfect. We speed up, we slow down, we're humans. We have a pulse, right? But you have to be aware of who you are, what's your personality as a musician, as a drummer and a bass player in particular, because the pulse is what drives the music, right? Anything you want to add to that?
Well, just to break down, where do you begin to understand what's involved? What are the elements in a groove? So we were playing a slow shuffle, but first we got to identify where that pulse is. So go ahead and like just play, play quarter notes on your hat or whatever, wherever you want it. Okay. Okay, so it started with the quarter notes. Okay, that doesn't tell you much other than how fast it is. Okay, now we're doing a shuffle, so there's another element to the shuffle. Okay, now you hear it on the hi-hat. Now it's making it a shuffle is on the hi-hat. So he's subdividing eighth note triplets. One, he's not playing all the notes, but he's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. So that at this tempo, it's the prime element of a shuffle. So the main thing is first, of course, feeling that pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the element that makes it a shuffle is that third triplet. 1, ba 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 da. So actually it's very simple, but unless you know what to listen for and what the elements are, and if you're not going at it with focus and intent, and I always bring that up with my students, that you've got to have focus, which means you've got to be paying attention and you've got to be listening, and you have to have intent, meaning, well, what are you doing? Are you trying to do something consciously, or are you just haphazardly throwing something out there? And a well-defined groove will take a player who's both focused and playing with intent. And in this case, something really simple like a shuffle. Actually, it's really hard to play a slow shuffle and really be locked in, because it requires having that focus of the time. And that's something that we have to develop as all players do. Usually it's the bass player and the drummer that end up having to carry the responsibility for the band, though, because a lot of times some of the other players will just kind of go out in the stratosphere and things start falling apart. They look at us, hey, what's the matter with you guys? You know. Anyway, it really does get down to understanding what the elements of the particular groove you might be are. So first was the pulse, and then realizing what the smaller subdivisions were. In this case, a shuffle. It's kind of like the underlying triplets that are under it. And we're not playing every triplet. You're playing 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. So feeling that and being able to illustrate that really with just the kick on 1 and 3. Okay, now that could be anything. It could be... Okay, it's open for interpretation, right? So what's defining the groove is the smaller subdivisions. So as soon as you add the triplet, okay, all right, now we're feeling it. Okay, it's a shuffle, all right? So if I'm a bass player and I'm gonna sit in with somebody and I have no idea what they're gonna do, say we're jamming, I gotta listen to what's going on. How are they, what's he giving me? Okay, I hear that. Okay, he's playing a shuffle. Now say, for instance, you played even eighth notes and it wasn't a shuffle. Okay, now that's a whole nother feeling, right? And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So that's a real straight even thing. That's no longer a shuffle. He just switches it up. The only thing he's doing different is he's playing triplets instead of straight eighths. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. Now go into the shuffle. Okay, so it's a real subtle thing that changes the whole feel, right? So that's, in every groove, that's what you need to be able to identify and be able to lock onto. I mean, of course, we've all got to play in time, but we've got to know what we're listening for. You know, in this case, if we're playing a slow shuffle, okay, where is he putting that?